The Enuma Elish went on high, the Babylonian epic of creation. When on high the heaven had not been named, firm ground below had not been called by name, naught but primordial Apsu, their begetter, and Mummu Tiamat, she who bore them all, their waters cumulating as a single body. No reed hut had been matted, no marsh land had appeared, when no gods whatever had been brought into being. Uncalled by name, their destinies undetermined. Then it was that the gods were formed within them. Lamu and Lahamu were brought forth. By name they were called. For aeons they grew in age and stature. Anshar and Kishar were formed, surpassing the others. They prolonged the days, added on the years. Anu was their son, of his father's the rival. Yea, Anshir's firstborn, Anu was his equal. Anu begot in his image Nudimmud. This Nudimmud was of his father's the master, of broad wisdom, understanding, mighty in strength, mightier by far than his grandfather Anshar. He had no rival among the gods, his brothers. The divine brothers banded together. They disturbed Tiamat as they surged back and forth. Yea, they troubled the mood of Tiamat by their hilarity in the abode of heaven. Apsu could not lessen their clamor, and Tiamat was speechless at their ways. Their doings were loathsome unto, unsavory were their ways. They were overbearing. Then Apsu, the begetter of the great gods, cried out, addressing Mummu, his vizier, O Mummu, my vizier, who rejoicest my spirit, come hither and let us go to Tiamat. They went and sat down before Tiamat, exchanging counsel about the gods, their firstborn. Apsu, opening his mouth, said unto resplendent Tiamat, their ways are very loathsome unto me. By day I find no relief, nor repose by night. I will destroy, I will wreck their ways, that quiet may be restored. Let us have rest. As soon as Tiamat heard this, she was wroth and called out to her husband. She cried out aggrieved, as she raged all alone, injecting woe into her mood. What, shall we destroy what we have built? Their ways are indeed troublesome, but let us attend kindly. Ill-wishing and ungracious was Mummu's advice. Do destroy, my father, the mutinous ways. Then shalt thou have relief by day and rest by night. When Apsu heard this, his face grew radiant, because of the evil he planned against the gods, his son. As for Mummu, by the neck he embraced him, as that one sat down on his knees to kiss him. Now whatever they plotted between them was repeated unto the gods, their firstborn. When the gods heard this, they were austere, then lapsed into silence and remained speechless. Surpassing in wisdom, accomplished, resourceful, Ea, the all-wise, saw through their scheme. A master design against it he devised and set up, made artful his spell against it, surpassing and holy. He recited it and made it subsist in the deep. as he poured sleep upon him. Sound asleep he lay, when Apsu he made prone, drenched with sleep. Mummu, the advisor, was important to move. He loosened his band, tore off his tiara, removed his halo and put it on himself. Having fettered Apsu, he slew him. Mummu he bound and left behind Lok, having thus upon Apsu established his dwelling. He laid hold on Mummu, holding him by the nose rope. After he vanquished and trodden down his foes, Ea his triumph over his enemies secured. In his sacred chamber in profound sleep he rested. He named it Apsu, for shrines he assigned it. In that same place his cult hut he founded. Ea and Damkina, his wife, dwelled there in splendor. In the chamber of fates, the abode of destinies, a god was engendered, most potent and wisest of gods. In the heart of Apsu was Marduk created. In the heart of holy Apsu was Marduk created. He who begot him was Ea, his father. She who conceived him was Damkina, his mother. The breast of the goddesses did she suck. The nurse that nursed him filled him with awesomeness. Alluring was his figure, sparkling the lift in his eyes. Lordly was his gait, commanding from of old. When Ea saw him, the father who begot him, he exulted and glowed, his heart filled with gladness. He rendered him perfect and endowed him with a double goat head. Greatly exalted was he above them, exceeding throughout. Perfect were his members beyond comprehension, unsuited for understanding, difficult to perceive. 4 were his eyes, 4 were his ears. When his lips moved, fire blazed forth. Large were all hearing organs, and the eyes, in like number, scanned all things. He was the loftiest of the gods, surpassing was his stature. His members were enormous. He was exceedingly tall. My little son, my little son, my son, the sun, son of the heavens, clothed with a halo of the 10 gods, he was strong to the utmost, as their awesome flashes were heaped upon him. Disturbed was Tiamat, austere all night and day. The gods, in malice, contributed to the storm. Their insides having plotted evil, to Tiamat these brothers said, when they slew Apsu, thy consort, thou didst not aid him, but remainedst still. Although he fashioned the awesome saw, the insides are diluted, and so we can have no rest. Let Apsu, thy consort, be in thy mind, and Mummu, who has been vanquished, thou art left alone. They joined issue, Tiamat and Marduk, wisest of the gods. They swayed in single combat, locked in battle. The Lord spread out his net to enfold her. The evil wind, which followed behind, he let loose in her face. When Tiamat opened her mouth to consume him, he drove the evil wind that she closed not her lips. As the fierce winds charged her belly, Her body was distended and her mouth was wide open. He released the arrow. It tore her belly. It cut through her insides, splitting the heart. Having thus subdued her, he extinguished her life. He cast down her carcass to stand upon it. The Lord trod on the legs of Tiamat. With his unsparing mace he crushed her skull. When the arteries of her blood he had severed, the north wind bore it to places undisclosed. On seeing this, his fathers were joyful and jubilant. They brought gifts of homage, they to him. Then the Lord paused to view her dead body, that he might divide the monster and do artful works. He split her like a shellfish into 2 parts. Half of her he set up and sealed as sky, pulled down the bar and posted guards. He bade them to allow not her waters to escape. He crossed the heavens and surveyed its regions. He squared Apsu's quarter, the abode of Nudimmud, as the Lord measured the dimensions of Apsu. The great abode, its likeness, he fixed as Ishar. The great abode, Ishar, which he made as the firmament. Anu, Enlil, and Ea had made occupy their places. When Marduk hears the words of the gods, his heart prompts him to fashion artful works. Opening his mouth, he addresses Ea. To impart the plan, he addresses Ea. To impart the plan he had conceived in his heart. Blood I will mass and cause bone to be. I will establish a savage man, shall be his name. Verily savage man I will create. He shall be charged with the service of the gods, that they might be at ease. The ways of the gods I will artfully alter. Though alike revered, into 2 groups they shall be divided. Ea answered him, speaking a word to him, to relate to him a scheme for the relief of the gods. Let but one of their brothers be handed over. He alone shall perish that mankind may be fashioned. Let the great gods be here in assembly. Let the guilty be handed over that they may endure. Marduk summoned the great gods to assembly. Presiding graciously, he issued instructions. The utterance the gods pay heed. The king addresses a word to the Anunnaki. If your former statement was true, do now the truth on oath by me declare. Who was it that contrived the uprising, and made Tiamat rebel and join battle? Let him be handed over who contrived the uprising. His guilt I will make him bear, that you may dwell in peace. The Agigi, the great gods, replied to him. To Lugal Dim Mer Rankia, counselor of the gods, their lord, it was Kingu who contrived the uprising, and made Tiamat rebel and join battle. They bound him, holding him before Ea. They imposed on him his guilt and severed his blood vessels. Out of his body they fashioned mankind. He imposed the service and let free the gods.